Welcome everyone to our SAP Tips and Tricks coffee break for SAP. Today we're with Matthew McGowan from the support desk, and Matthew is going to show you the best practices on how to log in your tickets with the support portal. He has some tricks for you to avoid delays in responses, and some of you probably already know Matthew. He works at the support desk. So hi Matthew, welcome.
Hello, hello. Thank you for the introduction.
And oh, by the way, if anybody has questions, you've got the Q&A box at the bottom, or I'm not sure if the chat box works, but you just have to log in and any questions you have. And if you need to speak with Matthew, I'll just unmute you. So it's all yours, Matthew.
Perfect. All right, so we'll get things started. Like Tracy mentioned, we're going to be going through basically all the best practices in order to submit tickets to our portal, or even what to do before submitting a ticket. So we'll start off with basically a summary of what we're going to be going through today. We're going to be basically tackling a super user or multiple super users, depending on how big your company is, in order to funnel all of our tickets. The goal in order to funnel the tickets through one person within your company is that person indirectly becomes a specialist. He or she basically can filter, can we resolve this internally? Can we do some troubleshooting steps before actually reaching out and submitting a ticket? These troubleshooting steps are also necessary for us at support or even a consultant in order to resolve your issue, or even find the perfect person to resolve your issue as quickly as possible.
Hey, Matthew, just a sec. Did you unpause your screen? I don't know if you're going through the PowerPoint.
Oh, I will resume share right here. There you go. Sorry about that.
Okay, all right.
Perfect. Sorry about that. So, yep, like I mentioned, troubleshooting, basically, we're going to be trying to troubleshoot as much as possible before submitting a ticket, because all those questions are necessary for us to try and resolve your issue. Plus, it saves us a lot of time ahead of time to see what you've done and what you have done and what you haven't done in order to try and troubleshoot and get or isolate the problem. This also applies for change or service requests. What information is required in order to gather the information in order to submit basically those type of tickets. We'll also go through priority levels within Forgestik. We do have 4 different priority levels, and each one of those is categorized differently in our queue, so that way we can tackle them as quickly as possible for your benefit. We'll also go through our hours of operation and a little bit of an overview of the partner portal in order to see what tickets have been submitted, how you can search for tickets or do follow-ups on your own tickets. One of the benefits or reasons that you would want to search for a ticket is basically to see if one of your employees is having issues or whatnot, and you want to search, maybe that's an issue that's already come up. Well, you can always try and search by the ticket number or trigger words in order to find those type of tickets. All right. So like we mentioned at the beginning, Forgestik Client Portal Super User. The reason for it is basically, as mentioned, to funnel as much as possible. We want one person per company or one person per department, depending on it. That person becomes a super user. Not necessarily a super user for SAP, but a super user for troubleshooting the issues. It could be someone from IT, it could be someone from management, it could be even just a standard employee on the floor. This person would basically see all of the issues or see all of the incidents that happen on a regular basis. So maybe they'll be able to troubleshoot it. Plus, they'll also get the answers that we provide them. So it's kind of like an on-site training as well. They'll be able to go through additional steps in order to try and resolve it as much as possible.
Yeah, and I guess too with that, Matthew, you know, when you have a super user, sometimes you'll have multiple employees, but when the same question comes back, instead of resubmitting a new ticket for the same thing, the super user knows how to do it. So sometimes it could resolve the problem more rapidly than going through the support again.
Correct, which is the next point on our triangle here. The user can prevent duplicate tickets.
Yeah, there we go.
We also have multiple people in the support department, and receiving duplicate tickets could potentially duplicate the workload and duplicate the resolution time. 2 people could be working on trying to resolve the problem for you. As that may sound nice to have 2 people working for you, they may be doing 2 troubleshooting tasks on their own end and not necessarily being as proactive and efficient. Like mentioned before as well, the user can potentially resolve the issue before even submitting the ticket. So what's the difference between a change and service request and an incident? We do have those three types of tickets internally. These are some of the actual differences that, or these are some of the type of different tickets that can be submitted. We do have Crystal report edits and query edits or custom queries and validations. And obviously technical issues like wrong data results whenever we're trying to pull up an invoice or a query is providing wrong information. We may have login issues or your SAP might be down. So a change request is basically anything that requires modification in SAP. So you do have, if you want to change a logo on a document, if you're moving and you want to change your address or your tax codes are changing, those type of anything that's a modification basically goes through a change request. A service request is something that's brand new, something you do not currently have in SAP, but would like custom query, for example, or a new Crystal report that you want to change or that you want to have instead of the default ones. Those are basically service requests. And then we do have an incident. An incident is basically a problem. Something goes wrong within the company, something, somebody's down, login information, or you're blocked, or anything that's basically a problem that prevents that person is considered an incident. How to troubleshoot the incident or gather the information that's required. There's a lot of different questions that you can ask prior to creating a ticket. As previously mentioned, you basically ask these different questions. When did it start occurring? Sometimes there's a modification that's done within SAP, whether it be on your end or something that we've done, and it could domino effect to cause another problem. So pinpointing the exact date or time that the problem occurred, we have the ability to go back and look into logs and try and find tickets or anything that we've done on our end in order to isolate that problem. Has the issue occurred before? Because this person is, or these people are super users or portal users, you basically have the expertise of finding out, okay, well, maybe this has happened before. Let me go look through my notes, or let's go search the portal and find out, maybe I already have the resolution. Maybe I don't necessarily need to go into the portal. Maybe I don't need to go and create a ticket again. The searching for the ticket number is probably the best bet, because we need that ticket number in order to track what we've done in the past to resolve it. Or maybe it's something that you have done, you've looked it up and can't necessarily find the actual solution. So we can reference that ticket to see what have we done and what can we do additionally to solve this issue. Were there any changes made prior? Kind of goes with when did the issue start occurring. Any type of modification that's done in SAP, depending on how custom your system is, we do have, it can basically create a domino effect or a ripple effect. Even changing one simple UDF can cause an issue. So that's something we may have overseen when making that modification. Every client is very different. Everybody operates very differently as well. So that way we may not necessarily know exactly what the impact of changing one small field is. Are you receiving an error message? In the bottom left-hand corner of your screen on SAP, you have a message dialog. Sometimes it's green, sometimes it's yellow, sometimes it's red. Any type of screenshot or just the message itself is the best possible information that can be provided, because we do have our SAP Notes portal that has a bunch of different consultants basically trying to tackle different issues. The error message in English is always the best one because it's universal, and we always, well, most of the time we can find a direct solution or potentially a workaround. And that message itself or the code is provided to SAP if ever we can't find the issue, and they'll be able to let us know if it's going to be fixed in a future patch, or they may be able to provide directly a modification to your system directly to see, well, let's change it. And then obviously we have to isolate the issues. We'll talk about isolating add-ons in a couple of further slides, but the add-ons themselves can be causing conflicting issues. We do have add-ons like Boyum B1up that can cause issues with SAP's template. If you modify the template and you have a B1up template, those two can be trying to talk to each other and trying to overlap each other. That could be a potential issue as well. So deactivating one of the add-ons to see if you still have that issue could also pinpoint us in the right direction. Is the issue occurring for one user? Is it a whole department? Is it one specific person that has, like, example, a corrupt profile? Or is it an authorization issue? These type of things can happen. And then obviously the most important, can the issue be reproduced? If we can reproduce it on our end, it prevents a lot of the interactions in the back and forth between yourself and us, because we can try and troubleshoot it on our end before even manipulating your system. These are just the simple standard questions that we always ask. And if we already have the answers to these, we won't necessarily have to go back and forth several times, which can be time consuming for yourself, and it can resolve the issue a lot faster. When it comes to change or service requests, anything that's basically new or you want to modify, the most information is the best. If we know exactly what's being modified, where it's being modified, anything basically, what size of font you want to change, what pictures you want to change. If you want to change the pictures or logos, we need the file, not the file names, the crystal report names, or the form settings. Basically, I want my sales order, I want my invoice, I want my delivery, you name it. If it's a new addition, we also need to know what's the impact of that new addition. Example, I want to add a UDF. Well, that UDF can be added, no problem. However, do you need additional steps? Well, I want this UDF, but every single time I load my order, I want information to be populated in that universal fund, in that UDF. So that's also some things. We may request a discovery call. Most of the time, it's easier to talk on the phone and get all of the information globally and then submit a ticket. So that way we have a form of ticket. And potentially, if it's something that's larger, it may even go towards project management and into a project. So like mentioned before, this is how you isolate the add-ons. If you have access, and the asterisks are here because certain individuals do not have access to go into the administration menu. So if you do have access, it would be in the modules administration, add-ons, and add-on manager. What this basically does is it loads up all of your add-ons and it shows you exactly what's on your, well, what's currently running or what could be possibly running in your SAP. These are non-lightweight add-ons because there is a secondary section that's backend, but those necessarily are development programs. So you basically just highlight one of your add-ons, you click the start or stop button, depending on what it is, and that'll isolate the issue, or we can try and troubleshoot to isolate the issue. Priority levels. So as mentioned previously, we do have 4 different priority levels at Forgestik. We have the critical one. Critical is a ticket that's created within our portal, and it copies almost everybody in the company. The only reason this critical ticket should be submitted is if you are completely out of business. If your SAP is down, nobody can log in, your SLD can't function, and nothing can function. So you're basically just, all your employees are sitting there waiting to work, is mainly the critical critical issue, basically. We do have high. High is whenever an incident basically impacts several individuals or a full department. The department basically meaning my whole shipping department can't use their scanners, so we can't ship out any product. This is something that's a little higher. It impacts business, but business is not completely down. A medium incident is a display issue or a problem for a select individual, but there's a workaround. So I can't print my invoices, however, my colleague can print them. Something like that. And then we have low incidents. Low incidents is basically everything that doesn't involve medium, high, or critical. It's not necessarily impacting your business. It's just inconvenience. We treat these as not necessarily priority because it doesn't impact. It's not a grave impact. Keep in mind that all service requests and change requests are also set to low. The reason for this is because we want to prioritize problems. We want to prioritize incidents prior to any type of new or modification. Also take note, our business hours are at the bottom of that page from Monday to Friday, 8:30 in the morning till 5 Eastern. So as mentioned previously, logging into the Forgestik client portal. Whenever you want to log into the client portal, you would basically go to our forgestik.com website. And in the top right-hand corner, there's a client portal. Click on that link and enter your credentials. If you don't have credentials, this is where you would submit a ticket, a low incident ticket, and request a username or request access to the portal. There are two different types of access on our portal. We have the manager, or the global access on the portal, which lets you see all of the tickets within the company. And then you have the individual user, which basically is just you see your own tickets. If you've forgotten your password, all you have to do is basically enter your username at the top and click on the Forget My Password button. You won't get a prompt, but it will automatically send an email directly to your email to say, please click this link to reset your password. Keep in mind there are specifications for the password. You do have to follow those rules, and you can't use your past 3 passwords, if I believe.
Matthew, I have a question.
Yes.
So let's say for somebody who does not have access to the portal, he
Yes.
can't log in a username or a password. So would that be one of the cases where they would send an email to support and write support@forgestik.com and request a login?
That is correct. Yes, they would submit an email at support, so that way we'd tackle that issue immediately.
Okay.
Creating tickets on the partner portal. Whenever you do get your access, you basically have 3 icons at the top of your screen: home, tickets, and one of the third icons, I believe it's reporting. Once you click on the ticket, which is mainly the one you're going to be using, you'll be able to submit tickets. There's 2 different ways that you can submit tickets. You'll have widgets on your front screen, which will show you how many tickets you've created, how many are assigned to yourself, and the new ticket button. You can either go through that menu at the top or click on the actual widget that says new ticket, and you'll be able to automatically start creating the actual tickets. So we do have, I'm going to correct myself here, we do have 3 types of tickets. I believe the sales request, Tracy, you may correct me if I'm wrong, sales request isn't functional or hasn't been functional.
What do you mean? You mean
On the request, yeah, on the
Okay.
request types on the ticket portal, there's a sales request I drop down.
Okay, well, normally they just go through me. The customers, they'll just send me an email or call me and I'll help them out with that.
Perfect. So there's that one we'll omit, but the 1, 2, and 3 will be there. So, basically just if you have an SAP maintenance plan, if you're with Forgestik, and you'll be able to submit tickets through the first one, which is the majority of people. SAP support, submit your tickets there, and we'll be able to tackle it as quickly as possible based on the priority levels. We have number 2, which is IT services. Our IT services, if you have an IT maintenance plan with Forgestik, then that'll be the section where you basically submit your IT requests. It'll be split into SAP problems and IT problems. Some of them may overlap, like there are printer issues that can overlap within SAP and IT, but we can discuss those internally and make sure that the tickets get to the right queue. So information found on tickets. This is going to backtrack to the troubleshooting. This is going to basically englobe everything that you've gathered in order to submit the ticket. At the top of the screen, we have the title. Majority of the time, the title needs to be as clear as possible. And the reason for this is because you and us, we both use the title in order to search for problems. So example, if you've made a change to your invoices in the past, or you have a problem connecting to SAP for a specific user, SAP is down. Those are type of things that we basically need to know. The SAP module section will be able to isolate which section of SAP we need to focus on. And then the short description will be able to pinpoint keywords that will allow us to search easier in order to find potential previous issues or if it was a recent change. Description. A lot of the questions that were asked on the troubleshooting page will be pasted into this section. The reason why is because we want to know what you've done in order to try and troubleshoot. What steps do we not want to necessarily repeat in order to save yourself time? If there's an error message, a screenshot or the actual error message itself would be perfect. And then the steps that you took on the specific user in order to reproduce the issue on our end. That's basically all we necessarily need to know. Obviously, we need the description of the problem itself. When did it start? All the stuff that we found on the troubleshooting page. I mentioned previously about ticket follow-ups. The ticket follow-ups is basically in the same option menu at the top where you click on your ticket icon and you can click on open tickets, Or if you see on the screenshot on page, in the bottom right-hand corner, it says open tickets by request type. You'll have a round circle widget on your portal that'll allow you to click it, and you'll have a list of all of your tickets that you've used or that you've opened, whether they be complete or still pending. Once you do click on one of the tickets, you'll be brought up to this screen. This screen basically provides you all the details that you've entered, which will be on the left-hand side of the page or the pop-up. You'll have your contact information and all that. And then on the right-hand side of the screen is all the activities that have been done. If ever we have internal notes, they'll be here. If ever we have questions, you'll get an email confirmation, but it will be on this partner portal as well. So you'll have all of the interactions. You'll also have an add quick note box, which will allow you to either reply or ask additional questions. If ever you want to follow up on the problem itself, see what we've been working on, or provide us attachments that for information that we necessarily need, whether it be screenshots or additional content.
A reminder too, guys, that the ticket number is the date, just so that you know. So if you're looking through your tickets and you see, at least you'll know that the ticket number is the date that the ticket was submitted.
Correct. Yeah, the first 4 digits are the actual date, year, month, and day of the ticket when we received it. For ticket searching, same concept as well. At the top of the screen, we also have the little ticket icon, and then we'll click on ticket search. This will bring you up to a search menu with a bunch of your tickets already. It's basically a table, and you can search by any one of the top of the little white boxes at the top of the screen. Those white boxes will allow you to type in whatever type of text or number that you'd like, whether it be a specific day that the problem happened, or if you want to filter and search by tickets that are not complete, what priority level they were, or even little keywords that we mentioned previously that can help isolate and pinpoint a ticket that you're searching for. You can also filter this, or not filter, but filter the actual table by ascending or descending order. If you're looking for a specific date, you can double click on the create date, and it'll filter and sort everything by the date that you're requesting, or take a priority or complete. Those are all options as well on this table. And that's basically all of the troubleshooting and tips and tricks that we can provide in order to facilitate either creating a ticket or even potentially resolving the ticket on your end. This is where I ask if anybody has any questions.
If you have any questions, you can, again, like I said, you've got the Q&A box at the bottom, and there's the chat as well. I don't know which one. There we go. I'll stick them both up in case somebody needs anything. And Matthew, could you just put it on the last page so people can see my contact just on the sales and other issues? If anybody needs to reach me, you can reach me there. So if anybody has any questions. No questions?
Hopefully I was thorough enough.
I was, Matthew, thanks a lot. So again, a lot of people used to use the support email, just the support email or call. And it makes things longer, because when somebody would just send an email to support@forgestik.com, it does create a ticket, but there's nothing that's detailed or pinpointed. So what the team does with Matthew's team, they're treating tickets that are already in the portal, and then they'll get to the email section, and then they'll have to contact you back and pinpoint what the issues are. So it's really the fastest way to avoid delays is really to go through the portal. Best practices, really.
Correct.
So,
and also when you do email support@forgestik.com, it does create a ticket. However, the ticket is automatically set to low. So if it is a critical issue or something that's problematic, then we don't necessarily see it until we get to the low tickets.
right.
And if ever there's any screenshots, they're not posted within the ticket. So we'll have to recontact you in order to get the visual aspects that you're trying to send us.
Exactly. So if nobody has any questions, I'm wishing y'all a great weekend, and thanks a lot, Matthew.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have yourself a great day.
Bye.
And third is development. Development is only going to be used if you've had or have an add-on that was developed by our Forgestik development team. I'm going to say 90% of the cases, it won't be this option. The majority of the time, you'll be using option 1.